All right, hey, welcome. We're Chapter 18, review, Part 1 most likely, Reconstruction. Reconstruction begins in the mind of Abraham Lincoln in 1864 when it seemed pretty clear that the North would be victorious in the Civil War. So Lincoln starts to outline his Reconstruction plans in 64. He delivers a synopsis of that, an overview, if you will, in his 1865 second inaugural address. When he, remember from that last review, when I found the beginnings, I unearthed some lines that were most people don't realize came from the first inaugural. But in essence, the message was really with malice towards none and charity for all. So Lincoln's plan kind of coincides with, like I said, in March of '65, along with the passage of the Freedmen's Bureau of March of '65, where the Republicans kind of had. I'm sorry, is the fact that you can only see my shoulder, is it bothering you? I really didn't want to hope you guys right now are like, come on, I can't believe he's really doing this with, I can only see his shoulder. I'm just playing with you. There we go. We're back. All right. We're back. So in March of '65, the Freedmen's Bureau was created by the Republican Congress that provides clothing, financial aid, medical assistance, schooling for the freedmen. When I say freedmen, for the freed slaves. And so basically, it was a financial aid package to help care for the freed slaves. This coincides with the proposal of Lincoln's Reconstruction plan, which is kind of known as the 10% plan, which basically states that the southern states could be readmitted with 10% of the voting population of the 1860 election, 10% of them, if they would take an oath of allegiance to the Union, then they will be considered readmitted, and then those southern states would get their representation back. It was greatly opposed by the radical Reconstruction mentality of the radical Republicans, who wanted more of a harsh, more stringent Reconstruction plan, and they proposed what was known as the Wade-Davis Bill, 1864. And they asked for, they're looking for a loyalty oath of 50%, and they were looking more to punish the North, looking more to punish the South, and so the Congress had passed the Wade-Davis Bill, and Lincoln artfully doesn't sign this. It was called a pocket veto. He let it expire at the end of the congressional term, and the Wade-Davis Bill never goes into effect. But you have to kind of look at it as two plans. Lincoln's was lenient, and the radical Republicans, or the Wade-Davis plan, was going to be very stringent. Again, Lincoln, malice towards none, but of course charity for all. Then we also know that the Lincoln's plan never really gets to be instituted due to the John Wilkes Booth's assassination of Lincoln, and Andrew Johnson becomes the 17th President of the United States. Andrew Johnson, a pro-Union Democrat, also kind of against the upper class of the South, he looked at Reconstruction as it's really not necessary, since he was a strict interpretation of the Constitution, and in his mind, since the Union is indestructible anyway, southern states never really seceded, and therefore Reconstruction isn't very necessary. But he believed that any policy that the radical Republicans would pass in Congress most likely would be considered unconstitutional. So Johnson went about Reconstruction very carefully, and he was going to make sure that every piece of legislation passed by Congress was going to adhere to his constitutional principles. Hence, That's why most of what the radicals passed ends up being vetoed by President Johnson. In response to the radical Republicans passing the Freedmen's Bureau, in response to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the southern states quickly had to realize, well, how do we enforce, how do we handle 4 million freed blacks? And so they instituted what were known as black codes, which were really kind of passed to limit the freedoms of the freed slaves, and set all sorts of strict ordinances and local laws that prohibited movements and freedoms and the basic constitutional freedoms that the whites enjoyed. Black codes really denied a lot of those, and the punishment most of the time was jail. And the way to pay off the jail terms was, of course, is to go back to the plantation and to work. So black codes were technically legal because they're not states. States get laws or have the right to pass their own codes if it's not specifically in the Constitution. So black codes technically are constitutional, and this is a way for the Southerners to control the freed blacks. Sam Deutsch is in the house tonight. Sam wants to come over and talk to us a little bit.
Do I have to read something?
Well, Sam, what do you know about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments?
Oh, I did that in my debate, actually.
What do you got?
Okay.
Those are called the Reconstruction Amendments.
Okay.
Tell everybody.
The 13th Amendment
Abolished
slavery.
Got rid of slavery. Slavery, gone.
The 14th Amendment made blacks citizens.
All right, so no state can deny or discriminate its citizens based on race, creed, color. Outstanding.
Good. 15th
Yeah.
is that all citizens can vote regardless of race.
All right, so the 15th Amendment gives the black males the right to vote. The Republican Congress is hoping now that they've given the blacks the right to vote. How are they going to vote for when it comes to the ballot? What party are they going to go to?
Republican.
All right, so that's really passed in order to secure the Republican vote. Sam, you have a great weekend, buddy.
All right, you too.
Thanks a lot for helping out. Our special guest, Sam Deutsch. So the radical Republicans do amend the Constitution. So in one way, Reconstruction was a political success, and it enhanced or furthered rights. Now the big deal was with the debate. Well, how well were they enforced? And with lack of enforcement, could that really be considered political success? And the answer is maybe. It depends on it depends on your view of success. Now, with the 14th Amendment guaranteed citizenship and 15th Amendment right to vote, the political success side as well, they look at the rights were enhanced. Then not political success side and not social success. Well, what about the white supremacy political groups, the Democratic groups, the Klan or the Solid South or whatever the white supremacy groups that came up? Obviously, the Klan is the most infamous, them denying the blacks the right to vote, not through not following the 15th Amendment, but passing laws in the southern states, poll taxes. You have to pay. You have the right to vote, but you have to pay a tax first. Or you have the right to vote. We're going to give it to you, but you have to pass like a literacy test first. You pass that, then you have the right to vote. Well, they know that most blacks either A, can't afford a poll tax, or is going to be able to pass this literacy test. Therefore, that was certain ways that southern states denied the right to vote, which later on the Constitution it makes those types of poll taxes or literacy tests illegal. But then the Klan also used intimidation and force to prevent blacks from voting, and which of course caused Grant's administration to pass the Ku Klux Klan Act that prohibited and banned all Klan behavior, and that did work for a short period of time. So the Klan Act did curtail behavior for a while, or temporarily. We will take a break, and then we'll come back for part 2.